are, the more you can convert.
Absolutely.
I think that's powerful. So if you want to share a little bit more about that for our audience.
You know, and I want to go back, starting with the end on that. You know, the influence is what most of us in business, at least for ourselves at some level, want. Because those people that are influential tend to be more in demand. Mm-hmm. They tend to be able to get whatever price they want to get, so they're not bound by some common laws that people think about pricing. But the thing about it is, it all begins and it all goes through that process of having that conversation, because that's where you determine whether there's any reason to go to a next step. You know, if you can't get that emotional feeling of, okay, this is, I like this conversation, I like where it's going, you know, we are connecting here, and then we want to go to the next level and have a meeting away from our networking event. Mm-hmm. But that side of it, but that conversation is the biggest thing that happens, because in talking with somebody, you're beginning to break down those barriers of the unknown, of what is this person, or am I good enough? Am I not strong enough to carry the conversation? Are they going to like me? So that's where all of that is built.
And when making those connections, I know there again that little fear that comes up. Should I connect with people I don't know on social media? Should I only connect with people that are in my network, or people that I only know? And you have to really, this is where that plan or that strategy comes into play. You have to know what your intent is, what's your purpose of being on the specific social platform or on social media in general, and what it is that you want to have happen. What's your desired results? Because yes, you can just network with people you know. I mean, it isn't about the quantity of people you connect with, it is the quality. However, if you really truly want to grow your business, you want to make sure you're connecting with people that are influencers, as well as those that can introduce you to people you don't know. No different than if you're face-to-face networking. Say you're in a referral group. I mean, again, I was a B&I director, and I taught the members how to really tap into each other's networks, find out, know who you want to be introduced to, and then ask, do you know someone? Do you know this person, or do you know of someone that could introduce me to this person? You do the same thing with social media. LinkedIn has a great platform for that, where you can ask people you're connected with to introduce you to people that they're connected with. So that's how you have to think of social media when you're making connections. Definitely just don't connect with anyone and everyone. Make sure that you are intentionally looking at who they are. There are unfortunately a lot of, as we could say, bad people out there on social media, and you don't want to have your site hacked. But you want to make sure that you're intentional with your connections. And I like to quote John Maxwell. He wrote a phenomenal book, and that book is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And I think that I highly recommend for you to read that book.
It's a good read, very strong read.
He has some tremendous points in that book. And one of his quotes that I took from the book was, you just need to be positive, believe in yourself, and focus on others. That's what connecting is all about. Be positive, believe in yourself, focus on others, and know that the people you're connecting with determine how you can serve them. And it doesn't mean serve them as them coming to you as a client, but start connecting with people that you can, again, introduce to others. We had our air conditioning guy stop at our house yesterday. We had a neighbor tree fall on our air conditioning unit during Hurricane Matthew last week, and I wanted to make sure that everything was running fine. And when we were talking, and I was showing him some other things and talking with him, he asked me if I knew a tree guy, and I go, yeah, I do. I mean, that's networking. So would you mind texting me his information? Again, introducing people, being intentional, believe in yourself and the people that you're connecting with as well.
And that's why you need to have a large network. It's just not getting a few groups of people together, 5 or 10 people. you really need to have a large network out there so you can have more conversations. You'll get more business, and you can give more business. And there's an inverse proportional rule here. The more you give, the more you get back.
Exactly.
And,
Be that giver.
And that's when you really become the networker. And in Bob Berg's book, The Go-Giver, he goes through that really well in the 5 points.
He definitely does. And when you're talking on that, let's get to the A in the acronym of SMART.
Okay.
Attracting prospects. Because when you're connecting with people, again, we want to be intentional. So we want to attract new people into our network. We want to attract them, to me, attracting prospects, attracting new people, and expanding your network is really the key to success of social media.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to get out of your own way. You really need to make sure you're client focused in the way you attract people.
How do I know if I'm being client focused?
Well, what you want to do is, first of all, you need to make sure that, one, you're on the platform that your ideal client is hanging out on, so to speak, and you want to make sure you're asking those individuals that are connecting with you, whether they're fans or they're connections or followers, exactly what it is that they would like to learn from you. You have to become a resource. So you have to make sure that you're providing information of value to those individuals that you would like to attract to you, because nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. So you want to, again, be resourceful. Provide don't be afraid to give out information that thinking that, oh my gosh, if I give them everything, if I tell them everything, they'll never want to do business with me. Well, here's the bold fact. You can learn anything you want just by Googling something or going up to YouTube. And if you're not willing to provide information that your ideal client is looking for, then they're going to go elsewhere.
Let me explain it just a little bit differently. The more you speak expertly on a particular subject, the more people are going to recognize you as being an expert and eventually influential in that particular area. I use you, Cheri, on social media. You didn't start out as the world champ in social media, even though you're the world champ today.
Oh, you're so awesome. Thank you.
It's a process that we all go through. And, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall down. We've all done it. We didn't come out of our mom's belly just walking and talking and doing this. We started by crawling.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And we eventually came along and were able to walk after a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's the same thing here when you're looking at networking. We're talking about communicating, but this whole process is really building relationships, and the social media side is a great way to get everything started. It's an easy barrier to break down. And that side of it is, to me, really amazing, because as you break it down and you really build those connections, and you start those connections to where you're building that relationship. And a relationship is a mutual give and take.
You're right, spot on that. And when you have to have that thought process when you are attracting people to you. As I said, get out of your own way and make it all about them. And there is a key to the way you attract people to you by the content that you're publishing, the message that you're putting out there. You also want to make sure that you are, again, hanging where your ideal clients are hanging. You don't have to be on all the platforms, but you want to make sure you're on master that one platform where the majority of the individuals you want to attract are on. And then through your marketing message, which is your content, that's how you need to be, what you need to be putting out there. But it isn't just business content.
Absolutely agree on that 100%.
You want to make sure that you're focusing on what I call my 80-20 content rule. 80% of the content that you're putting out there needs to be of value. It needs to be interesting, informative, entertaining, resourceful. 80% of your content needs to be, yes, you can talk about you sharing information about what you're up to. Because again, there's a purpose for that. And we're going to talk more about that in more detail in just a moment. But you want to make sure you're really putting out content that is going to naturally, organically attract people to you because they can't wait to read it. Most importantly, they can't wait to share it. Because that's, again, how you expand your network and get more connections. And then 20% of that rule is where you can be promotional. You can actually provide information about your upcoming events. Maybe you're going to be launching a new product, what's happening within your your actual company with your services. Maybe, again, giving some news and making it about, how they can get a discount on something or where they can come in. Maybe you're going to do with the holidays coming up right now, maybe you're going to do an open house for your clients to come in and give them a special VIP treatment day or something along that line. That's your promotional, that 20%. But you really need to balance that 80-20. 80% really needs to be very much resourceful and informative information, because that will lead then to what you were just referring to, the relationship building, and that is the R in SMART.
Yeah, it is. Because that R, you have to go from that prospect. You have to be able to communicate. You have to have built that bridge where you can have that conversation for that relationship to happen. And if you're standoffish, if you're too pushy, the opposite ends of the same stick, it's not going to happen. Because relationships, that's the key. For me, it's the key.
Most definitely.
It's the key that's there. But relationships also take a long time to nurture, a long time to build. And in doing that, you have to have that friendship that has to develop along with the business relationship so that you can communicate and have a relationship, because a relationship is emotional. Mm-hmm. It's just not pure black and white numbers. We went out to here and we sold this and that was our deposits, and this is our net profit and all of that type of stuff. So we need to take this prospect and nurture them to make sure that there is a relationship that is established so we can progress through it and get a deeper relationship.
Very, very well said there, Richard. In fact, we talked about, when you're making those, in the very beginning, we're talking about social media, having that conversation. And when you're engaging with your connections and wanting to attract more connections or prospects to you, you are building the relationship with all of these people. Some of the individuals you're connected with, you have a relationship, very good one already. Some you started one, and others they're just getting to know you. So again, you need to make sure that the way you're engaging is providing the right call to action and what you want them to take as well. Is it to, as you were just talking about, nurturing them? Do you want to nurture them with your content that you're putting out there? And how do you do that? What would be a good tip on how to nurture a prospect or content, a connection with your content?
A lot of it, when I do some Facebook ads and those type of things, we start the conversation with the end in mind. What is it that you want to do? What is it that we want to have whenever this particular job that we're working on, more than the relationship, whatever this job is that we're working on, how do we know when we're done? How do we know when this subset of what we're doing is done?
I guess because you've actually achieved the result that you had desired, right?
You've gone through the whole process, and you have completed the steps to that point. Now, that doesn't mean that the relationship ends, that the business relationship ends, that the friendship ends.